after that amazing cliffhanger I left you guys on, here is Oracle of Seasons' sister game, The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages. Now, why do I refer to this as the sister and Seasons as the brother? Well, that's due to the way I feel these two games are structured. Oracle of Seasons feels more combat heavy, with a lot of emphasis placed on this, which I feel is a more masculine quality. While Ages has more emphasis on aspects like puzzles, design, and in more out-of-the-box experiences, which I feel is a bit more feminine than Seasons. And that's pretty much the reason I like Ages more than Seasons. While these two are similar, it feels like more time and patience was put into this game in its design. Implementation of dungeon items feels more unique, dungeons themselves make greater use of the game's design choices, the enemy and boss designs feel better overall, and of course, the thinking power required in this game is great. The main challenge of Ages lies in these puzzles, which all require different actions to complete, such as a certain item or action, or just plain going to a different time period. With all these mind-challenging trials rather than straight-up combat, this game all throughout manages to provide a more stimulating experience. One aspect of these two sibling Zelda games has been left untouched so far. Usually when two sibling games are released, what is it that encourages use of both games? The fact that both games are different in certain aspects and they can link together. And that's where these two come in. By performing a linked game between these two, certain aspects are unlocked. The games are designed to be played in a row, so the first game has no changes to it. These changes appear in the second game you play in the sequence. After beating the first game, you will return to it where certain characters will give you passwords which will unlock certain items, like the level 3 shield and enabling use of the Master Sword. The two games also link together in a story sort of way, as the ending of the two games join to form the true ending, which I won't spoil for you. In the end, Ages takes my vote for the best of these two games. While both are required for the true ending of the Oracles, I overall had more enjoyment playing this one. Simple as that. When the Nintendo Wii first came out, we were all amazed at what we saw with its launch title, Wii Sports. It did what it was meant to, show off everything motion controls had to offer. But its charm wore off really fast. After playing all the game had to offer, people began to see that this game was really nothing special, and people only had copies of it because it came boxed with every single Wii console. And when the Wii U came around, they included another pre-boxed game with the system, and it was an entirely different story. Similar to my opinion on racing games, party games are not really my cup of tea. Once again, I have fun playing them, but my enjoyment is limited. Especially after last year spending 6 hours of Mario Party straight with epic failures getting fucked over so many times. But somehow, Nintendo Land has actually managed to make me have a lot of fun without much of the annoying bullshit others give you. Once again, as the Wii has been known for, this game is a mini-game collection game, but a damn fine one at that. Because Nintendo Land is, for a matter of fact, a Nintendo-themed amusement park, all the mini-games, or rides, are all based on different Nintendo franchises, and they're all pretty damn fun. Metroid Blast is a shootout laser tag sort of game, complete with morph ball and grapple beams for maneuvering. Mario Chase is, well, tag, with stage hazards and power-ups to enhance the fun. I could go on and explain every single minigame in Nintendo Land, but to not bore you, I'll just talk about my favorite minigame.
Ooh, time to the battle quest.
Surprisingly, no. While I am like a mouse at this minigame, my favorite is the Ghost Hunt. Let's just say that when I play as the ghost, I develop a bit of a complex.
I hunt you down one by one in the dark, as you timidly cling to your controllers, with all accompanying you being a flashlight. I follow you quietly through the room, until the moment your guard is at its lowest, and then I take your life for myself as I sink back into the shadows as your friends race blindly after me in a vain attempt to avenge you. How pathetic. They will be my next victims.
Creepy persona aside, Nintendo Land is a real gem. With great visuals, a functional premise, and being a party game I wasn't frustrated by when I played with the epic failures, this pre-packaged game really stands on its own. Well folks, it's shared entry time again, with a sub-series of one of my favourite franchises filling the role, and this is the Sonic Advance series. These three are counting as a shared entry because I can't decide which of these is better, so you get a joint entry. Speedster, Master of Decisiveness! And this is only the first of the three Sonic entries on this part, but I'm getting ahead of myself. All three of these games are your basic Sonic platformers. Get to the end of the stage as fast as you can while collecting rings and defeating enemies. But I'll go over each one individually. Sonic Advance is just like what I said. This game is just a plain 2D Sonic platformer.
I love it!
What it does fantastically, providing variety in levels and music, and comes with the option as playing as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Sonic Advance 2 built on what the first set out to do. It added once again the ability to do that spinny jump thing to attack, as well as including new stage elements to add more variety. This also featured quite a few more memorable Eggman mechs, although it had this thing. Like the first one, Advance 2 allows you to play as all the characters as before, but adds two new characters, Cream and Cheese. This little rabbit plays very differently from the others, as her channel Cheese allows her to use projectile attacks, which leads to me referring to playing as her as easy mode. But this game is still a lot of fun. Now, Sonic Advance 3. The major difference between this game and its predecessor is the inclusion of a team system. Your main player character's abilities are changed and altered depending on which character is your helper. These helpers can be used to perform special techniques like flight and speed boosts. This once again has the character rosters of the previous games: Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Cream. Advance 3 also deviates from the previous games in the sense that the levels don't just transition straight to the next one. Instead, it functions with separate areas with a number of levels which can be played in the order you wish. And these levels are really great. All three of these games share an appealing graphical style with average music. The music in this particular series isn't bad, I just don't remember much music from it. But these three are still pretty damn good, good enough to achieve the number 78 spot on this list. Well folks, what do you know? After this spot, there will only be one Sly Cooper game left to talk about. So with all that said, let's see Sly 2 Band of Thieves. Simply by looking at which game is here, you can tell what my favorite Sly Cooper game is, but
Hold your dinosaurs.
Sly 2 was in actuality the final game I played in the series, which I got as part of the HD collections of the series, and it enters a new style the series would come to follow. Now, the plot of this game is that after you blast him with missiles, throw him into lava, and quite thoroughly beat him into tiny pieces, and left him in a volcano, Clockwork's pieces are still very much intact. What's that all made out of, Josh's skull? Anyway, Sly and the gang have taken it upon themselves to hunt down all of Clockwork's pieces and deal with them once and for all. One of the reasons this game is good is because of all the changes that it added, which in turn fixed the problems I had with the first game. First, they added a health bar. Bloody genius on the developer's part. Also, it allowed you to play as the bumbling powerhouse Murray, and on his first set of field operations, the smart techie but weak Bentley. Once again, this game is really stylized. I've talked about the visual style, but Sly 2 adds something I feel the first game didn't really succeed in. The music. Oh man, is this soundtrack great. Once again, the music is all stylized to fit the situation, whether you're prowling the rooftops of Paris, infiltrating a nightclub, or even sneaking around ruins. One major change to the gameplay comes in the fact that all combat isn't limited to stealth and sneak attacks. With this new health bar and improved arsenal, facing enemies head-on, while not always the best option, is actually now an option. Once again, the humor in this game is still as great as the first game, maybe even a little better.
Greetings, citizen!
I hope you weren't harmed by my meteoropic entrance.
However, like the first game, I do have two major faults with this game. First, the vehicle sections. I talked about these when I talked about the first game, and they have improved, but there are still some issues with them. And my second fault is the true villain. I really don't want to spoil anything, but I think I have to. I'll hold back as much as I can. Nayla, you fucking bitch! I hope you die in fucking hell for the shit you do throughout this game! Okay, I'm just gonna end this entry before I lose it. Sly 2 is a really great game that I really enjoy, and I would place it higher if not for that fucking backstabbing little bitch! Well, I guess it's the first real time my flame shield has been really used. As you can plainly see, the first main series Mario game on my top 100 is the often considered best Mario game, as well as the man himself, Shigeru Miyamoto's favorite Mario game, Super Mario World. Now, I'm not saying that this game is bad, it's just that there are Mario games better than this one in my opinion. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Super Mario World was in reality the very first Mario game I ever played on its Game Boy Advance re-release, and I had a lot of fun playing this when I was a kid. However, before I picked it up again years later, it never left a huge impact on me. And the reason I never got past the Forest of Illusions was because I couldn't figure it out, and I actually developed a sort of resentment for it. But when I picked it up relatively recently, yeah, I liked it. And I see why others liked it and has the reputation it deserves. Okay, life story over, let's get into some facts! Super Mario World was one of the biggest titles the SNES ever put out, with it being the definitive Mario platformer on the console. The gameplay remains mostly unchanged from the NES games, but a few added features such as the spin jump, allowing Mario to jump on surfaces he could not normally stand on and completely crush certain enemies, as well as power-ups and his trusty dinosaur steed, Yoshi. The first power-up Mario receives, which has quickly become his most famous alongside the Fire Flower and the goddamn Super Mushroom, is the Cape Feather. If you somehow don't know what this does, the Cape Feather allows you to fly! Everybody loved it back then, and everybody loves it now. The other one is the P-Balloon, which is now the trusty steed of Mario, Yoshi. This is one of the greatest innovations in the whole series. Yoshi functions as a mount for Mario, counting as a second hit and in some situations, a second jump.
You monster.
Also, Yoshi receives power-ups on top of that. Yoshi can breathe fire, shake the ground, and fly. And on top of that, Yoshi comes in several varieties, making his added effects more common depending on color. Wrap all this improved gameplay with great level design, memorable music, and lovely graphics, and this is a game to remember. However, due to some bad nostalgic memories and the fact that I have a differing opinion on this game, Super Mario World ranks number 76 on my list. In this community that we are in, there are certain video game franchises we can all agree that we like, such as Mario, Pokemon, and various others. One of these franchises that a lot of people in this community seem to like is the Castlevania series. However, I'm not that big a fan. Linear, non-linear, it's just never truly appealed to me. However, there is one Castlevania game that I have played and enjoyed enough to place on this list, and that game is Super Castlevania 4. If there is a game on the Super Nintendo that is just bursting with badassness, it's this game. Every single one of you, I'm guessing, will have seen Egoraptor's sequelitis on the original Castlevania and this one, and these two are made to be compared. Then again, Super Castlevania 4 is simply a 16-bit rendition of the original, but updated to make the game more accessible. I think the first notable upgrade is in the graphics. I mean, just look at this! This game tosses levels after level of gothic and horror scenery at you, with graveyards, decrepit old castles, and even waterfalls and skull formations. It takes full advantage of the Super Nintendo's capabilities, especially in this particular level. I'm getting dizzy, guys. I don't think I can do this. The audio matches this improvement in graphics, with brand new compositions as well as updates to older classics. Now, the biggest thing, the gameplay. This game is criticized by some people, Egoraptor in particular, that the updates to the gameplay ruined the feel the original Castlevanias had, and I agree. Super Castlevania 4 drastically changes the feel of the NES Castlevanias. A feel I really didn't like. In the NES days, everything felt too limiting. Jumping was awkward, the whip was practically useless in a lot of situations, and the challenge was way too brutal. Super Castlevania 4 fixed all the problems I had with this. Jumping is fluid and reliable, making platforming a great deal less frustrating. Whipping is now actually a feasible option, because it is longer, more powerful, and can be swung in all the directions you want it to, like straight, up, down, diagonal, and these two changes and many more throughout is what really makes this game for me. There's no choppy platforming, there's no unrelenting mobs of enemies, just simple, fair challenge. To wrap this entry up, I'm going to recite my feelings I felt when I beat the final boss. I died more times than I could count against Dracula, and I got him the lowest I'd ever got him, and my health was really low. But then, I heard it. Wait. What's this? Is this what I think it is? Oh yeah. Oh yeah! Dracula, prepare to die, you undead motherfucker! And that was it. Roll curtains. I'm done with this entry. The 3D Sonic games have always and will probably continue to be a really hot topic among Sonic fans and just video game fans alike. Do you love them or do you hate them? Were they the best direction the series could take, or were they the games that killed Sonic? I, for one, am in the first category. I absolutely adore the 3D Sonic games, and in my opinion are the best Sonic games ever put out. And since there will be quite a number of these 3D Sonic games on the list, let's start right here with the first 3D Sonic game, Sonic Adventure. I'm placing the first 3D Sonic game, as well as a big fan favorite, as the lowest 3D Sonic game on my list. And that's mainly because I don't get it. I don't get why this game is so damn popular. I understand that this was a huge thing when it first came out, but I wasn't in on it at the time, and I only played it last year as part of the Dreamcast collections on 360. And I found it relatively underwhelming. Like all Sonic games, I really cannot complain about the music. It is very good for the most part. The graphics, they're good in my opinion, but the lip syncing is horrible. Just look at this. But, as we all know, the biggest part of any game is in the gameplay. And this is where I think this game really falls short. My main gripe is that a lot of aspects implemented into this game really just make me groan. For one, the number of stories in this, to me, feels unnecessary. Sonic's story is great, and is one of the highlights of the game, so no problems there. But Tails' story, Amy's story, and Big's stories are the ones that really annoy me. All of Tails' levels are pretty much the same as Sonic's, with the only added goal being to get to the goal before Sonic, which doesn't really make sense in the context of the story. Sonic's meant to be the big hero, why does Tails make it to the goal first? Amy's story isn't bad on its own, and the use of the hammer does make her enjoyable. However, her story is just so short that it feels pointless. And do I need to discuss Big's story? No, I don't. However, the one thing that redeems this entire game for me is E102 Gamma. My god, this storyline is written just so well, being the first time there's actually been emotional impact in a Sonic game, and its gameplay is just so enjoyable. Rest in peace, Gamma. You have left a mark that will not be so easily erased. Let's Plays. How much I enjoy watching these. Sure, it's a very average concept by itself, but what makes them great is just by the way the Let's Players execute it, with notable examples being Chugga Conroy and Nintendo Capri Sun. And in fact, I've done some Let's Plays in the time this channel has existed, and I want to do another, once I decide on a game to play. And the number 73 spot goes to the first game I ever did a full Let's Play of, Mega Man 10. Ironically, while this game is the last game in the classic Mega Man series, this was the first Mega Man game I actually played. I would talk about the LP I did for this game, but it really isn't anything special. There was no commentary and it was just the gameplay. Pretty good gameplay if I do say so myself. Now, before I spend this entire entry tooting my own horn, let's talk about the game itself. The story, like most Mega Man games, really isn't important. Robots are attacking, go stop them. Once again, like the 9 games that came before it, Mega Man 10 is a classic-style 2D platformer with tons of challenge and fun gameplay. And there are quite a few things to talk about. First and foremost, the Robot Masters. This selection of Robot Masters, honestly, isn't the most impressive bunch we've seen in this series, but none of them are bad. You have some okay ones like Nitro Man, Commando Man, and Solar Man, but then you have the big one, Blade Man, the valiant swordsman of the classic series. And if I'm going to talk about the Robot Masters in this game, I need to address Sheep Man. Honestly, get over it. He's a sheep. There have been plenty of worse Robot Masters before this one. Also, it's based on a sci-fi reference and lives up to that reference, to Robot's dream of electric sheep. On top of that, his stage is very enjoyable. Sheep Man is a good Robot Master. Get over it. Now that that's over with, let's talk about the levels. These are one of the reasons I wanted to Let's Play this game. These levels are just so enjoyable, and with numerous new mechanics present in each level, make each a new experience, if not a terrifying one. Commando Man's stage still makes me panic. The music is once again really good, the Mega Man norm, but honestly, I have a recommendation. Go check out Gen Cole's channel to see some of the best covers of any video game music you've ever seen, with particular emphasis going on these Mega Man 10 covers. Here's an example. To wrap this off effectively, Mega Man 10 is a lot of fun, and being the last in the classic series, it pays a lot of homage to the rest of the series, and I love it for that. The Mario series being pretty much undeniably the most famous video game series with more than 200 games under its belt, there are going to be quite a few spin-offs of this iconic franchise, with some of the more popular spin-off series being the Mario Kart and Mario Party series. I, on the other hand, prefer the Mario RPGs over the others. So creative, so unique, and so much fun is to be had in these games. But now, it's time to talk about the first Mario RPG on this list, which happens to be the newest one released. Before starting, I need to clarify something. I've not played through all of Sticker Star, and I will get around to that at some point, but for now, I'm going off of what I have played so far. Being the newest installment in the Paper Mario series, I was excited to play it. I mean, Paper Mario was awesome! But being entirely honest, I was disappointed when I got Sticker Star. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff I like in this game. For one, the game looks great. The Paper Mario visual style is still extremely prominent here. Everything is very nicely designed, the world is bursting with color, and the paper physics are all featured. The music is lively and catchy, which I can guarantee will get into your head. Unfortunately, this is where most of the good stuff stops and my complaints begin to show up. First, the story. Don't get me wrong, this story isn't bad, but honestly, this is really a letdown. Every previous game in the series has had big, epic stories built up from the start until the end have you engaged. This one's kind of fails to accomplish that. Bowser tries taking over and by pure dumb luck gets an Omni-powered crown which he wrecks shit up with. Yeah, sounds kinda dull, doesn't it? My main complaints come in the gameplay. This game is supposed to go back to the series' RPG system after Super Paper Mario changed it all, but it doesn't really. For one, there is no open world exploration. This is instead replaced with a level select system. Why? But my main gripe comes with any RPG's main part, the battle system. First thing to note, there are no badges and no flower points. How do you fight then? This is how. You battle by selecting stickers from your sticker album to attack. Each sticker represents one move and after its use, it's gone forever. You collect them either from buying them at shops or finding them lying around. And considering there is no kind of level up involved, the only reward for battles is coins, which you use to buy stickers so you can battle more. This breaks the entire game down to item conservation, then battling to level up and improve your strength. As I said, I haven't played through all of this game yet, so these issues may be fixed somewhere further on down the line, but for now, that's my 25 cents. Paper Mario Sticky Star is a really good game, but I still think there's a few too many flaws. Okay, this is it. This is when it happens. This is the entry where I lose all credibility. This is the entry that will set the comment section ablaze and send the dislike bar skyrocketing. Brace yourself as I maximize the flame shield! Here we go. Nope. This isn't some troll entry that I'm going to cut away from in a second. I'm being serious. Sonic 06 is on my top 100. And surprisingly even higher than games like Sonic Advance, the original Sonic the Hedgehog games, and even Sonic Adventure. I know at this point I'm supposed to defend this game, but I'm actually really hesitant to. The last time I talked about Sonic 06, it was as part of the worst video I've ever made, with this game playing a very large part to that, but I brought it up, I need to talk about it. I know the two major flaws people have with this game, how broken it is, and that fucking retarded romance between Sonic and Elise. First of all, my copy of Sonic 06 is the PAL version, which, lucky for me, is the less glitchy version. There are still glitches, but they're never anything game-breaking for me. I've seen the famous Game Grumps moments, and I'll admit, the silver fight is still fucking broken, but there's nothing much else for me. As you heard me say, the romance between Sonic and Elise is retarded. Not only is the concept of this weird and disgusting, it feels painfully forced and just feels like they just dredged up a 16-year-old concept that should never have seen the light of day. Other than that, I have no true problems with this game. Any other minor complaints that I have are all found in Sonic's story, which is by far my least favorite story. I enjoy this game for Shadow's and Silver's stories. For one, these two stories introduce two of my favorite Sonic characters, Mephiles the Dark and Silver the Hedgehog. Mephiles is what I would call the true villain of Sonic 06, and he's actually an interesting villain. He works as a manipulator, but still gets his hands dirty, as well as having some fantastic dialogue and a creepy persona to begin with. Also, he's voiced by Dan Green. Argument invalid. Silver, on the other hand, I like so much that he is my second favourite Sonic character in the series, higher than Sonic himself. He's a tragic character who legitimately goes through dilemmas throughout the game, and complain all you want, I love playing as him. It's a different feel from Sonic and Shadow, and I enjoy this change. These two story arcs are well done in my opinion, and I have played through their levels more times than I can remember. Now, the one thing people cannot deny that this game succeeds in is its music. Good lord, is this soundtrack great! Okay, I know a lot of people will not be convinced by my argument, so I have another thesis for you folks. I kind of see Sonic 06 as the Room of video games. It's undeniably flawed, but you can't deny that it's a ball to sit down and play through. Now, let's finish this off before this flame shield fucking overheats.